it doesn't answer my question very well, because in the Orthodox theology, energies have nothing to do with how you understand the Trinity. It's more about actually the tafhid, the unity of God, and how God as a unity acts in the world, and how he's being present in the world.
Yeah, well,
so it doesn't so much...
in the Islamic tradition, the way that God acts in the world, too, is through these uqul. So it's through these, through creatures. So God emanates these different, what are called intellects in the philosophical tradition.
The reason I'm asking is because in the Orthodox theology, this relates directly to how we understand mysticism and the ascetic practice and so forth. So I was just curious.
Well, it links also, because in Islamic tradition too, you don't have direct access to the essence of God, but you have to go through intermediaries. And these intermediary beings in philosophical tradition, again, are the uqul.
Intermediaries are not energies. Energies are not intermediaries.
Well,
okay.
Yes.
Thank you for your lecture. I have a question. Thank you for the time to give me. I quote a French philosopher. He says, I think it's Voltaire. Thinker, great thinker of 18th century of enlightenment. He says, God created Himself by creating human being. I'm just going to explain. God created the universe and all its phenomena and granted existence in order to be known. Is it a question? So the first question is: do you agree or disagree? And I'm just going to explain. God made Himself known by creating human being. So is it my central question is that is it some sort of need or necessity? Because it seems that there would be no way but to create a thinking subject, that is to say, human being, so that this goal could be fulfilled and materialized. If there were no thinking subject, human being, how would God have been identified or thought about or even rejected? Because even atheists think about the concept of God, the Creator, the concept of the notion of God. So I think is there any? I'm sorry for the question. I think it could be a stupid question, but this is a very good opportunity for me to be before you in order to ask this question. Is it in this way? Is it a kind of interdependency between God and its creator? A creature. Human being as a thinking subject who think about God and create Him in this way. Thank you.
No. Because God, as God is understood in the tradition that I've been describing, God is completely independent of His creatures. Now, independent means that nothing causes God, nothing has any causal influence on God. Of course, it's true that in order for God to be thought about, there has to be some kind of creature who thinks about Him. But God would exist even if He were not thought about. God doesn't require anything to think about Him for Him to be. Now, what that means, this is explained in a very nice statement by Al-Mustafa. Al-Mustafa, actually this is in a footnote somewhere, he says that even if God had created nothing, even if God didn't create anything at all, there would still be a reality. And that reality would be the reality of the fact that there wasn't anything created. And God would be responsible for that reality. Now, the reason why there's a world in which things have been created wasn't because of any need that God had, but rather because of necessary consequences of the attributes of God, particularly his divine wisdom.